Brian, this is the team's fifth Western Conference Final in 8 years. I have to imagine that feels pretty damn good.
Yeah, feels pretty darn good. Makes me think that, all the people on Sounder at Heart and some other places think we have an old, tired team. I think we have an experienced team. I think we have a really good team and a team that can really do some really special good things because that group is very close in there. So I am extremely happy to go into a Western Conference Final. I don't care who we play. It's a testament to those guys in there. And I know, this much I can promise you and everybody else in this room, that team will be ready. That team will be ready. And they will give it their all. They will fight, battle, scratch, pass, score, defend. They will do whatever it takes to win.
Egan.
First half, you get 5 to 6 great looks. Second half, you come out, you get a couple more. It didn't look like Nick Romano was going to let anything in tonight. How key was it just to keep attacking to finally get something through there?
Soccer's a weird game because they had all the possession. We were a little upset with that in the first half, but we created the better chances. We came out in the second half, and I think we created chances and struggled and fought back a little bit more possession than what we had in the first half. But Gustav's goal, Nico's delivery, and Gustav's header was the thing that really broke the game open. That was what we needed. Because, we would have kept attacking. I mean, that would have been fine. But when we finally did have that breakthrough, then it allowed us to dictate tempo, allowed us to do the things that we wanted to do, the things we didn't do maybe against Dallas, and we were able to close the game out.
Michelle?
What impressed you most about what you saw tactically from your team tonight, or how they adjusted throughout?
Well, tactically, Michelle, I'll have to watch the tape again. I think that was just a gritty performance. I mean, you're playing against a very talented RSL team. I have to. I have to give Freddie a lot of credit. Okay, a lot of credit because he had his team ready. That's a good squad, and I hope he gets the job. And, when you play against a 4-2-3-1, but it's a different 4-2-3-1 than what we have, it's a little more fluid. They interchange all the time. It was a challenging game for us tactically. We wanted to compress the middle of the field because that's where all their movement was and let the balls go out to their outside backs. And at times we did that. But at other times, the outside back would get the ball, we'd press, and then they'd just come and find a way to get it out to the other side, and we were just chasing the game. So, again, we made a couple of adjustments at halftime, and, they worked. But I think the majority of the game, the reason why we won the game was just because we kept attacking and kept attacking. And, look, our team is too good for us not to score goals. So that's what I was most proud of.
Blair?
Brian, since you've taken over, your team has shown a tendency to kind of peak in the playoffs, despite what struggles might have led up to the regular season. What's the key to that?
I don't know. I mean, it's a great group of guys. I have a outstanding coaching staff. I think from day one, this organization was built on winning and persevering in times of trouble. We don't feel sorry for ourselves if things don't go our way. We pick ourselves up, we go back to work. We do all of the little things that make us a hard team to beat. There's things that I take from different coaches. Coach Carroll's always positive, and he's always doing these things, and he talks about, commitment and all of these things. And I listen to other coaches to kind of get what I say to the group. Alan Hinton, Jimmy Gabriel, a lot of guys I kind of listen to and then formulate, think about how can I say it in my own version, and those guys respond. You have leadership from different positions. I was very pleased with the clean sheet tonight. Steph leading from back there, Nico, Gustav, another good performance, Christian. So overall, I think it's just organizationally, this franchise has always been about winning, and we want to continue that.
Tim?
Brian, for them to have that much possession but still have only 7 shots and only 1 gets on target, I guess what was working so well for that back line for you tonight to not let them have many clean looks?
Well, if you concede possession, where you want to concede possession is in their half of the field or in that middle block. I thought, the difference, again, going back to Dallas, is Dallas was able to pin us back all the way in our half. Tonight, I think our lines were up a little higher. They were still able to keep possession, but it was kind of like in that middle block. So for that, it was good. And, we didn't want to give Krylak any sort of room because he's very good in the air. So we made sure that Kelvin and Brad pushed out at the right times. We didn't want to defend deep because the last 2 goals he scored were headers from inside the box. So we made that messaging before the game as well.
Jada, do you still have one?
Yeah, well, you were talking a little bit about the goals and what you wanted to get in the first half, but Nick, with him retiring this season, he had a storied career. Can you talk a little bit about the effort that he did show? Obviously, it broke.
Well, he kept them in the game for long periods of time, and then even at the end of the game, Christian had gotten around the corner a couple times, and we could have maybe had the 3rd goal, but again, he kept them at 2-0. So Nick's been obviously talked about a lot. This is his retirement year, and I wish him the best. He's been a fantastic goalkeeper for this league and for his club.
Miles, you still have one?
Yeah, you kind of mentioned this, but it's the 93rd minute. You're up 2-0 on the right corner. Christian Roldan's got, those 2 players there that are guarding him, and he is still playing. What can you say about that?
I've sat here and talked a lot about Christian Roldan. Sometimes, I think sometimes we get carried away a little bit. It's too much praise or whatever. I got to keep him down. Gonzo does a good job of that. But, the kid's great. He's great. He has the physical tools. He has the mental toughness that I like. Any coach would be happy to have him on a squad.
Then after the game, he was signing autographs to the fans.
Jordan, Christian, they're all nice kids. They are all great kids.
Pence?
You described the importance of Gustav's goal, but I wanted to ask you about the importance of Gustav to your group overall. It seems like he can be easy to overlook. So how would you describe his role within your team and both as a locker room guy? Because it seems like he's a leader in that way too.
Well, his role on the field is to be a guy who breaks up plays. I think his defending, his toughness, his determination, all of those things are very, very vital for our squad. On the field, in the attack, he likes to spray balls, long diagonals. That's the thing he brings in attack. He's dangerous on set pieces, as we saw tonight, and he scored, some other goals. He had an assist for Jordan the other night on a set piece. So in the set piece situations, he's been very good for us as well. So he brings a lot to the team. In the locker room, he's a funny guy, he's Swedish, he has a dry sense of humor, but the guys love him. It's a good locker room, it's a happy group, and, that he fits in.
Do you have an example of his sense of humor?
Yeah, no, not at this moment, Matt.
Mark?
To go back to talk kind of about Tim's question, was it the plan going into the game to cede so much possession and play on the counterattack, or is that just sort of how the game?
That's how the game ended up. That, again, is credit to Freddie. He coaches his team. They have a possession-based team. I know he wanted to come in here and probably take some of the sting out of the game. We actually wanted to keep possession because people keep telling me that my team was tired. So one way you can avoid being tired is that you can keep the possession of the ball for yourself, and then that way you make your opponent run. The ball never gets tired. So if you pass the ball around and you possess it a lot, the ball doesn't get tired, but your opponent does. So we actually came into the game trying to outpossess our opponent, but it just didn't manifest itself.
Felipe?
Coach, last game was different than this one. What can you tell me about the defense in general? How did they perform in this for this game?
Well, the defense was great. I mean, anytime you get a clean sheet, I mean, Steph bailed us out, the game against Dallas. We changed up our marking assignments on corner kicks. We messaged the group about how we want to defend Kelvin and Brad, not allow any crosses, and they did their jobs. And so I'm very pleased with the way the defense worked. And, Javier, we haven't spoken about him. I mean, Roman, got a tight hamstring. So, Javi comes on the field. I'm blessed to have another center back who can step right on and the game continues. So I think they all did a very good job.
Nico?
Raul didn't score today, but can you talk about his hold-up play, runs, and everything else he brings to the table today?
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing that the last, 10 or 12 games. You guys were talking about how he hasn't scored and all that sort of stuff. He scored the other night, but he has consistently done some of the small, and you want to talk about defending, starts with him. Starts with Raul. Even down a guy, okay, they were down a guy. Raul is still chasing, pressing, trying to close the game out for 2-0. So I love that. I love that in Raul.
All right.
Yeah, not to get too far ahead of this one, but when you're in a situation like this where you're through and the next matchup is yet to be determined, what does the preparation become like? You and the staff get together and watch that, or how long do you give yourself before going into planning mode?
Well, we will download both the Galaxy games and LAFC games, their last 3 games. We will be prepared. So as we enjoy our victory tonight and a little bit tomorrow, we'll probably start preparing so that when the game ends against, whoever wins and whoever we play against, we'll be ready and we'll start preparing. But there's no sense in doing anything now because we don't know who we're going to play.
Andrew?
Kind of piggybacking off of Ari's question, these two teams, arguably maybe the second best rivalry in the league behind Portland and Seattle. Just what are some of the things that you look at with those teams that have made them successful this year, and what are you looking forward to in tomorrow's other semifinal?
I'm just looking forward to a decent game because I'm a soccer fan. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter who wins. We'll be ready for whoever we have to face. Certainly a home game would be nice. But, other than that, it's going to be a interesting game, whether it's the Galaxy or whether it's LAFC.
Go to John and then 1 or 2 follow-ups if we have time. You good? Okay, follow-ups, Jada? Go for it.
Just wanted to ask for a little bit more on Roman. You said tightness in his hamstrings.
Yeah. He'll be day to day. He felt it a little bit at halftime, but he wanted to continue. And then as he was going up for that one corner kick, he felt it again a little bit, tighten up, so we didn't want to take any chances.
Is that the same with Jordan as far as taking him off? Not the same.
Taking Jordan, I mean, the kid was gassed. I mean, if somebody did the math, that's what you guys can do. You can do the math and figure out how many minutes that kid has played in the last 2 weeks. That kid gutted it out. And so there was some injury risk there, but the kid was gassed. So, we had to sub him out.
Blair?
Brian, the chippiness out there today, was that just normal playoff intensity?
Well, okay. Got to measure my words here because it's a little bit of a hot button after that last tackle, because that last tackle wasn't good. But the chippiness that started in the beginning of the game, we want to be a league that plays good soccer. We want to get out of the, 70s and 80s when the first pass of the game, somebody would go like this and kick the best player on the opposite team. We want to move away from those days when I was playing. And we want to be a good entertainment, the play, the soccer, the movement, the passing, and all of that. And I'm not going to say that RSL is a dirty team because I think they actually play fairly well. And they just, it's playoffs, it's do or die, and they all have a lot of testosterone there, and, our guys do as well, and sometimes the game does get a little chippy. But I don't think there was anything malicious in that game. It was just a playoff game.
We'll let Michelle close so we can get you guys into the locker room.
Coach, you and your players for the last couple of years have said every season you want to do everything you possibly can to bring an MLS Cup to Seattle. Obviously, still a ways to go, but knowing that there is just this, there's a possibility of it, what would that mean to you and this club to be able to give that to the fans and have that here in the city?
Well, I would love to give that to our fans because they're great. I mean, that little sequence where they just were cheering at the end of the game, before the game, as the walkout, whenever they do their chants and all that sort of stuff, I mean, they deserve it. They actually deserve it. It was our intention to try and get as high up in the standings this year as we could to, host a game. We ended up fourth, so there's a couple teams that are ahead of us. Obviously, Toronto did us a favor, but we cannot look forward past our next opponent, but it certainly would be nice. And I know my bosses would be happy.